Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Going into part 3 of today's episode of The Burning Wheel. A very intense episode so far. Jesus,
I feel like all of our episodes are really
fuck.
intense.
There's
Like,
always there's always something. There's always like a scene or a couple scenes that are just like, holy shit. So good
You
work,
know, you
everybody.
know what the worst part of all that was?
Mm.
I don't even have a belief about it.
No, I know, right? Well, now you can write one. See, so this is the thing.
I mean,
If you
my
want to, just as a bit of
ones
pre like return commentary, that kind of shit, Agatha, that's angling for a deeds point, right? Like when Dark Queen Agatha is just like, listen, fuck all y'all, I'm in charge. That's where we get into the deeds territory. Where you're like, no, you know what? I'm gonna throw away everything I believe and just become Dark Queen of the.
I have seen that path as one of the many that lays before me now.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of dark paths, Miro. So you've been putting work in, right? You've been you've been seeking out members of the common folk, seeking out the nobility, speaking in churches and what have you, trying to rally your influence, and you're beginning to develop a reputation, if not an out and out cult. Where do we find you?
I think, I guess we would have the discussion. He's agreed to help me, so I don't need to roleplay out getting his help. I think it's me and Father Robillard,
Mm-hmm.
and we're setting up a nice little demonstration for everybody.
Okay.
So I figure, why not go for two birds with the same stone? People think that the death of God is the end, but I believe, Father Robillard believes, that death is absolutely not the end, because we can raise ghosts.
It's true.
So if people see that, then they'll know that there's still hope for their faith.
Sure, of course. Miracles are still possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
This will make everybody really happy and nothing terrible will happen.
Perfect. Yes, it will.
This strains my belief. I don't imagine anyone could ever believe in a Holy Spirit. That just seems far-flung, Dave.
It's
I don't
just
know.
madness.
This.
All right. So I guess there's two things going on here. There's the you want to gather up some people to watch. You need to gather an audience.
Get them in.
And then you want to show off your magic skills. So what I guess what do you want to do? How do you bring forth the faithful? Because I feel like this is a circles test, right? Like to.
Yeah, that seems perfectly fine. Maybe
we've done this before, right? It was like this with the nobles.
It was, yes, but it was my uncle making the circles roll.
Correct, yeah.
But now that I have the reputation myself, I think we start doing it there and then get help maybe from my uncle and from Father Robillard.
Mm-hmm.
My influential. Yeah, well, one's an acolyte, the other's a patron, I suppose.
2 men and a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Okay. So they'll help. You'll get a helping die from either of them. But let's talk about we'll talk about your circles, because they have to overlap with you to be able to help. And Robillard has church in common with you. Mm-hmm. Oswald is a noble, and so I don't know if he has any life paths. What are your? Can you give me your life paths again and your settings?
Where are you? Life paths. I'm actually born a peasant.
Okay.
An apt pupil, a mad summoner, temple acolyte, and then priest.
So you've got outcast, peasant for settings. Outcast, peasant, like church, whatever that one's called. So if you want a helping die, you could call like lay clergy. This could be a demonstration for priests if you want to make the roll. Or you could do it alone and make this a demonstration for the common folk. Who are your audience?
Do you want to start a thing? I I need to get the church on board with this. I think starting with the clergy makes sense.
Okay, cool. I dig it.
We got to get them to remember like what their deal is. They just sat, like ostensibly at the moment, they're all sat in the like church, just like reading and doing everything like normal. I'm like, get with it.
Okay, all right.
Let's do some church.
So how do you what does this look like? Do you like go to the church and say like, come forth, a miracle is to be proclaimed, or do you like put out word that you're going? Is it like a magic show? Or you like, come see the miracle? What's the way that Miro presents this? And also you have your patron as a helper on this too. So
yeah, and I guess he would like be advising me on this, but I think together we would come up with some sort of plan which is focused around you all have work to do. I think he pulls rank a little bit. You all have work to do. You need to be reminded of what's going to happen. And then they show up and I'm there. And they're like, oh, this guy. I think we go about it that way.
Oh, okay. So because Robillard has some power in the church, you want to kind of lean on him to be like, yeah, call together some of the clergy, and then you're gonna be the big show. Okay. So where does this take place?
Graveyard.
Oh, okay. All right. So the graveyard, I guess here's the other question. Let's talk about the actual thing that you're casting, because you may need access to, like, does it help or do anything if you have access to the body? Do you need his bones or anything? No. I mean, he's in heaven now, so.
No. You need to pay a price regardless. I don't think there's any helping die for them, like actually helping.
Right. The sanctified dead can provide revelation, transfer, or social, and they require tribute.
Right. And that is the entire reason I got Father Robillard in on this, because I have no resources. I have zero.
Right. Whatever the final payment is, it is costly. Okay, so we can work out what you have to do. You don't do it, I think, in advance. It's payment for services rendered. So what it says here for tribute is the summoner must build a shrine to the sovereign powers of the spirit, commission a work of art in its name. Oh my God, Alessandra, Miro and your uncle are going to make a work of art in tribute to your dead husband. Oh my God, they're gonna like try to make like a stained glass window of him, or like have a statue erected or something. And your uncle,
it's one of those things where the people who know the person are like, that doesn't look like them at all. Like Alessandra's gonna be like, that's not even close to what Gabriel was like.
I love that the tribute is gonna have these other social ripples that Miro is not even considering, right? That like the grieving uncle is gonna commission this sculpture or this stained glass window to be like, the nephew I never had a chance to have. This poor martyr who died in his prime, as did our God. Oh my God, it's so good.
We need Alessandra there.
We need her.
The sons of Carpathia, robbed from us, their people. Oh, it's so fucking good. Okay.
I mean, if y'all are doing this, like, where is this happening?
Well,
you said you're circling up only church folk, so there's no reason why I would be there.
Right, but I think that your uncle might come and speak to you, or Miro might. I think Miro's going to be busy preparing, but I dig it. Okay, so let's have the circles. Let's have the circles roll. We'll work that out first.
All right, nice. Okay, let's see. Circles. Which of these sheets is it on? Information.
All right.
No, other one.
So you grab dice equal to your circles. You add advantage for 1 reputation and 1 affiliation. Do you have a reputation and an affiliation with the church?
I do. Yeah.
All right, so you get 2 extra dice. You get a helping die.
If I have 2 dice in affiliation, does that mean I get 3 total dice?
Yes, if it's a 2D affiliation. Yeah, you're good at this. You're good at calling forth the church folk. And in this case, you are using circles to conjure up like a bunch of lay clergymen, right? No one individually, but you can write down on your sheet. You're basically building a reputation with like a gang of generic priests and nuns.
Priest gang, yes.
So
gang.
So good. Okay. So the difficulty on this, you're looking for just like generic, like nuns and monks and priests that happen to be in town, of the same station rank or social class, with no particular knowledge or disposition, and they're in you're doing this in the church, right?
Oh, do I want to? How likely do you think it is in setting that I could? Well, as a stretch, how perhaps will there be any other members of the clergy who can actually do magic? Because I think it's quite rare, even within the church.
So gifted, you may be the only gifted member of the clergy in town, unless we circles one up or whatever. I need one. But like, there are folks who are academically interested. The church cares a great deal about magic of all sorts. We talked a little bit before about there being like a sort of the John Dees of this world, the kind of like scholar sorcerers. But I don't think there's anyone that would be a separate circles roll.
Okay. Yep.
That would definitely require an individual. And you want to do this just in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I would probably give you advantage dice if you were doing this in like the Corvidae crypt, but that's going to be it's much less like out in the open and harder to get a crowd in there.
Yes.
Okay. So, but this is going to be a fairly easy circles roll. I think this is going to be ob 1. It's an ob 1 circles test. Yeah.
Okay. Am I getting any help from Father Garrulus?
Yes, he'll give you an additional die. Yep.
Okay, so that's 7 dice against ob 1. So
yes.
I really hope I don't fuck this up.
I think you'll be fine. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Well, we'll see. Stranger things have happened in this game.
It's true.
I looked up a bunch of collective nouns for like groups of clergy people, and they were all really funny.
A discretion of priests. Yeah. All right. So no problem. You got 5 successes on a routine test. Ob 1. You're good. So you at the appointed time now. I guess. Do you want to jump in here? Or are there other preparations? Like this is you and Robillard putting the word out, and Robillard's saying like, members of the clergy, lay priests, nuns, monks. We're gathered here, for God's will. I've seen something that will bolster your faith. Please, like, come with me out into the graveyard, and everyone like is putting on their fucking winter frocks and what have you, and going out with Garrulus to see this. But have you done any other preparation in advance?
Yeah, totally. I need to assassinate to make something easier.
Okay, sure.
So the summoning obstacle is going to be 3. I currently have a skill in summoning of 2.
Isn't it 4 for Sanctified Dead?
Oh yes, Sanctified Dead is 4. My mistake. I had them the wrong one.
I presume he was given his last rites and wasn't just like tossed into a mass grave.
I don't know.
Alessandra. There was a funeral and everything, right?
Yeah.
Wait, for Gavril?
Yeah, for Gavril.
Of course there was.
Of course, yeah. I just want to make sure.
No, we didn't just toss him into a lump.
I
was very sad. I dabbed my cheeks under my veil, and yeah, it was great. Mm-hmm. It was the best day of my life.
That's kind of fucked up.
It's a good funeral. A+.
Okay.
And so I like you.
The assassination test, you set the ob yourself for the amount of advantage die you want.
Right, and each point is an hour of labor. But as we've established before, cercinating out in the cold requires health tests.
What if you got fur?
Well, I'll give you an advantage.
All right, fine.
I mean, listen, if I made Agatha make the test and she's basically an elf,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Sam Squanch, you're gonna have to make the test too.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, you totally did. Yep, that seems fine. Let's go for a 2 dice advantage because I'm going to be forking in. No, let's go for a 3 dice advantage because I got a lot of things to fork into the assassination test. The summoning itself is harder to fork into because it's a sorcery.
So I think for the purpose of understanding sort of funerary stuff in this world, and folks can make a test, but I think that in Carpathia, particularly the faith in Carpathia in this situation, the ground here is probably too like hard to just kind of like dig graves and put people in. I think that if you are rich or noble, you have either a mausoleum in your own house, like under your house. You have catacombs or whatever, kind of like House Stark style, or you can be interred at the in one of the mausoleums of the church. So this church has a deep like catacomb. I think if you're a commoner, probably you are part of your funeral is that your body is burned, right? That you're what is that called when you burn the body?
Cremated.
Cremated. Thank you. You're cremated, and there is a single kind of tombstone for all the common dead, honoring them all together, right? So there would be a symbol of some saint who was a saint of the commoners, and you're cremated, and you're kind of like your spirit is added to this thing because they're not gonna. There's no room to bury all the common dead. So this like graveyard probably isn't like a bunch of stones. It's a bunch of entrances into the various like catacombs below the church, and then there's the monument to the common dead there as well. Now House Corvidae like where is your husband's remains? Where are they interred? Is it at your home, Alessandra?
I feel like if the house had catacombs, then he would have been laid to rest next to his father and his father's father and blah blah blah. If they were very religious people, there might be like a decorated we paid the church a lot of money, and so now we get this fancy part of the mausoleum in the church sort of thing. But I don't know what his family, I mean, because Robillard is a Corvidae, not a...
Yeah, Robillard's not related to them, yeah.
So there's no in-game history of at least my tiny faucet of the Larix family being exceptionally religious.
Yeah, I mean, they're pious because they're Carpathians.
Yeah, but...
and we established that you're the most embedded Corvidae here, right? Like you're the only Corvidae that owns like real estate in this city. Yep. There are a lot of other Corvidae, but they're not like, they don't like live here. They didn't want to build a life in Carpathia. So, okay. So what do you think? Is it your house or is it here?
I mean,
I think I'm leaning towards home. If you're
yeah, that's fine. I was just wondering about like if you had any preconceived ideas about how religious the Larix side of the family would have been.
They're as biased as any Carpathian, which is to say like slightly.
Nothing special.
Which is to say they have a trait that says bias.
Well, yeah, but they're not exceptional. Not enough to like give oodles of money to the church and have a special little corner of. So yeah, they'd be at my house.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the difference between pious and faithful.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. So you are in a place that is sacred to death generally, and the dead, particularly in Carpathia, but not particularly to House Corvidae or House Larix or this particular spirit. Doesn't make too much difference. You're going to cercinate. How long do you want to take to do that?
3 hours.
Okay.
I'm going to go for 3 dice. Working slowly doubles the time, or?
I'm not sure. Agatha, do you remember how that works?
Yeah, it takes twice as long.
Okay.
To get +1 die.
So it'd be 6 hours.
Going outside in the cold for 6 hours.
Either twice as long or 50% longer. I can't remember which, but either way, it's a long ass time.
Yeah, I have a handout. I'm gonna take a
look. Is there any in-character reason he wouldn't spend 6 hours out in the cold doing the work of God, even if it's a danger to himself? No, I'll take that risk. I'll work slowly. I'll get myself an extra dice.
Why are you doing this outside?
In a graveyard.
That's under the ground.
Yeah, but there's an area behind the church where you would gain access to the mausoleum. And so it's outside. There's a big place where they hold funerals.
Okay, so you wouldn't just do it
because we wouldn't pack everybody in underground.
Oh, okay. And you can't. Okay, yeah, that's whatever.
Okay, so it would take you, normally it would take you 3 hours. Instead it takes you 4.5 hours.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good to me.
And I'll get you to roll a fort test after, but.
Sure thing. Okay, so I'm going to cercinate. I would like to fork in ritual, because I'm making this a big religious ritual. So I'm falling back on all my teaching.
Okay.
And I would like to fork in. Anything else that's reasonable? Symbology, perhaps? Do you think?
As a fork for assassination? Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'll fork in those two. And we got the extra die from taking the time, so that's 3 added onto the 2 at a difficulty of 5. No, wrong way around. Difficulty of 3.
Yeah.
Got him.
Nice. Okay. All right. So you'll have your 3 extra dice when you go to perform the magic. Okay. Cool. So you've been doing this for several hours while Father Garrulus is going out and recruiting.
Yes.
How much have you told him about what the plan is? Right. Like he knows you're going to summon something, or you're going to perform some kind of miracle. How much have you told him?
Part of the discussion to get him to agree to the plan in the first place mentioned his niece specifically, so he would know that that's going to be the first one.
Okay. So let's have a quick conversation there. So you're talking to him about this. And you haven't said like I'm conjuring up the ghost of your dead nephew.
No, not in so many words, but we did get fairly explicit during that conversation. Talking about like how the past leads clues to the future. We have ways of finding out the will of the dead. I think it's fairly obvious to him, though I haven't said in so many words I'm going to summon a ghost.
Okay. I'm just wondering if he would have any reason to invite or tell you not to invite Alessandra, right? Because he's like, yes, we'll do the clergy now, but like, do you want her there, or do you explicitly not want her there? Like, what's?
No, I want her there. This is her.
There's no way for me to know about it unless it goes outside of the circles of the church.
Which is what I'm about to potentially do here. So you're talking about, this is in like the late hours. You're in the church. You're in Father Garrulus's office. The
Right.
Candles are flickering, and the two of you have been discussing, I don't know, things angelic for some time. And now the topic has turned to the next day's ritual, right? You haven't begun your assassination yet. He hasn't gone out and like started to talk to people, but basically he says, yeah. So I guess you want to tell him. What do you tell him to get him to go and invite her?
Lady Alessandra, as we have spoken before, has shown signs of impiousness, though not outright heresy. I believe in this instance there is an opportunity. A case could be made to her with the right persuasion to rethink her position on matters of her own soul. It probably comes from a place of ignorance, and you will, I hope, not take offense to this, but the Corvidae house is not known as those from here are for their innate respect in the same way that perhaps folk from here might be. She cannot be faulted for that, of course. There is an opportunity, I believe, that she might learn from this experience. Do you agree?
He nods, but says, but was it not your intent that this be a gathering of the faithful? A rebirth, a reinvigoration, a rekindling of the fires of faith among the church. Certainly if we empower the members of our church, then this miracle word will spread to the nobility. Was not the holy city built one stone at a time, Miro?
You are very right, Father. This is undoubtedly true. But I believe that spark may yet also be ignited in your niece. There must be some trace of divinity passed down in your blood to produce a man as great in faith as you yourself. in rekindling, we might find something we haven't seen before.
Yeah, he kind of puts his hands up like, "Oh, you flatter me, Miro," and he says, "I just wonder if it's the best way to re-invite her into God's graces, to surround her with priests and nuns. Would she not feel out of her element? I don't want to accidentally push her away from us."
But the opportunity to see her husband again, surely she yearns for this more than anything else.
Right, and that casual, like, yeah, surely. And he raises an eyebrow, and he says, "I had wondered, but thought not to ask on your intention. So it is the sanctified dead you wish to call out to?"
Indeed, we are doing this as much for her soul as for the soul of the people of this land. Were it not so, I would, of course, agree that, yes, the faith, holiness begins at home, as they say, and God's house itself needs a little push in the right direction. But this is, as I say, I made a promise to you that I would do what I could to speak to her, and though my way with words is lacking.
And he says, "When last I parted with the Lady Alessandra, it was not on the best of terms. I fear she may still be frustrated with me. Know you someone we could speak to influence her correctly, to bring her here? I worry she has no wish to see either of us."
I don't believe I have any relevant wisers to be able to offer something here.
Yeah, I mean, you could. That's the thing, is you'd have to circle someone who knows who knows Alessandra, or who might be able to like convince Alessandra to go to this weird church event.
I could do it.
You could do it.
Likewise, it probably wouldn't be great, but I could do it too.
Who is the woman that she gets along well with in court ostensibly? What was her name? Volpa?
Tabitha Volpus?
Never. That's a negative circle.
I don't know that.
That's a negative.
Yeah, I mean, if you
No,
suggest like perhaps the Lady Tabitha, right? Like the two of them are bosom friends, right? You've been spending a lot more time in Tabitha's company.
I mean, but like, have I though? That hasn't happened yet. We haven't done the time skip.
Sure, yeah, but like there is this implication that you're both ladies of the court. You're on even footing, and
What
you
about
both
Sylvain?
you both play that. Well, Sylvain hasn't arrived yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I'm saying because Robillard would know his own family.
Yeah.
I'm happy to circles and fail and get a bad person who wants to either manipulate me or her in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, or you can just say like, well, what about the Lady Tabitha? Like, it seems like she might be someone we could go to.
I mean, does he know the Lady Tabitha? They've never.
Right, yeah, that's the point.
She's always, her and her brother are always around the king. Everyone has seen them all being like best buds. Everybody knows her and her brother.
Well, but Miro's not exactly at court all the time. He keeps getting dragged away.
What are you talking about? He gets thrown out of court every day.
I mean, Robillard could suggest it, but I don't think that would be. Dave obviously would be the person to determine what Miro would or wouldn't know. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the thing here is that you're not connected enough to Alessandra to like let that happen. And because we did the church circles, maybe I guess the question is here, Miro, like you would have to know in this case someone in the church who also has a connection to Alessandra that might invite her to come to this. It's a very nuanced and complex social manipulation situation that I don't know that Miro is equipped for.
I don't know. The
only person that could help you with that has already failed a duel of wits with me.
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, the two of you maybe are like, and that's part of the scene, right? Is that you're both just like, fuck, she's like, she lives in a whole other world. And so I think that Robillard says, perhaps, Brother Miro, what best serves us is for the miracle to speak with God's own words. If we are to show the clergy that there is yet faith to be had in Carpathia, there is no question in my mind that it will spread. Soon the nobility will hear of it, and what the nobility hears of, so too will my wayward niece learn of your actions. Besides. So go ahead.
I believe, though my conversation with her herself proved not fruitful, I do hold some sway with those in her household. That was part of the compromise.
I feel like the compromise was that I got the reputation as impious instead of you getting a hold in my house.
Yeah, we went with negative rep instead of adding to your positive rep from your
right. Yep. Never mind that then.
So maybe you and Father Robillard are just like, well, maybe next time we gotta start here and then go from there. Also, I mean, who'd be really useful at getting Lady Corvidae to come and pay attention to you would be her dead husband's ghost, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that the two of you, the conversation turns to other things, right? Where he says, I have a list of priests I think would be amenable to this, and the two of you start to talk, and we kind of fade to the next scene. So set it up for me. When we see the clergy and everything emerging from the church and like gathering, what do we see? What is the open area where the funerals are held? What does it look like?
I think we've got fairly we've got a very kind of creepy, I think, graveyard. Despite the piousness, I imagine it's, even if it could be a nice place, perhaps it's generally kept and tended to. Specifically, flower beds are planted there to put people at ease when they're coming to pay their respects. But in like typical kind of like Gothic style, where before it might be nice, the snow just accentuates the difference against like the iron railings or like the stone statues, which now seem like more menacing because they're all like, the eyes are like hooded over by shadow. There's not enough light coming into the area. So what before might be a comforting place is kind of like chilly and cold, both physically and metaphorically. Maybe people don't come to pay their respects as often as they should. So it's all a bit like creepy, and I'm sure this is added to by the fact that there is a strange like, and I've probably got my sleeves like rolled up, so there's me with my white fur like kneeling in the snow, like lighting all these candles, trying to keep them sheltered from the wind, and drawing out this like huge symbol on the ground, which I have to keep like scratching away every few seconds as like fresh bouts of like light snow come to try and cover it up. Or maybe it doesn't, because it's an innately magical circle. I don't know how powerful assassination is on its own. But they'd find me in quite quiet contemplation, preparing myself mentally with a kind of, despite it being open, a slight echo to my like mumblings to myself. And they're not so much prayers specifically as they are me just talking to the angels, just being like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I hope you'll assist me in this task. Like that sort of thing.
Okay, cool. So you have the monks, the priests and monks and nuns come out. There's like maybe a dozen or so that have gathered, and they all come out kind of like whispering quietly to themselves. No one seems like, they seem like ready to see this miracle. They're not here to disbelieve. And so they gather with Father Garrulus, and Is the intent just for you to do the thing, or is there like a speech beforehand? What have you and Robillard planned?
Yeah, I need to, I suppose, decide which sort of service I want the thing to do.
Yeah, so the spirit of Alessandra's dead former husband can provide for you social, transfer, or revelation. So social, you may ask the spirit to go forth and convince another person of something. Love, fear, respect, promotion, etc. Love and affection may be earned through the machinations of a spirit. This is a rather complex and open-ended task, the means of which are left entirely to the spirit. Assassination, bribery, arranged marriage, and worse are not out of the question. So you could get the spirit to go and convince a person of something, this apparition to appear before someone. And yeah, I see Alessandra being like, no, fuck, no. Don't make him come and try to convince me to be pious. Transference is the process by which the summoner or a character of his choice may take on one of the entity's traits. During the term of service, the creature does not have access to the transferred trait. So you could make a person have one of Gavril's former traits, or one of the traits.
You could try and transfer his piousness, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
And for anything to do with summoning, just summoning it doesn't make it do a service for you. You have to summon it and then make a bargain with it.
Yes, and that's what the tribute is, right? Like, I will do this if you, yeah. And then revelation. Revelation is a question answered. If the consulted entity does not know, it returns to its realm and seeks those who might. So its realm is heaven, the eternal paradise of the sanctified dead, dwells among the angels in God's kingdom. None of us really know what God's kingdom is like right now with God dead on his throne. But if his spirit does not know, he will return to heaven and he will ask around for you. Asking questions of creatures of this ilk is always unwise, yet some persist in doing so. The answers are always far worse than being ignorant. Revelation may be conveyed in the form of a dream or a vision. The summoner must request the revelation for himself or another person. Right? Go forth and unto this person reveal the truth. Revelations always reveal truth. They may be obscure or confusing, but they are never false. So I guess, Miro, you've got two things going here. You've got the, like, check me out, I can summon ghosts, but also what do you want the ghost to do?
Yeah. I think this goes one of two ways. One is I use the opportunity to gain knowledge of heaven.
Yeah. How's it going up there?
Yeah. But that's kind of the selfish one. And it's whether he can overcome that to...
Right, your curiosity.
Yeah, to go and socialize, be like, hey, Alessandra, how you doing?
Well, I mean, I think at a player level, one of the things is pushing Miro's agendas, because knowing of heaven or revealing truths about heaven to anybody would be very, very valuable in your own, like, church spheres. The other one is you involving another character when the Duel of Wits kind of separated us. So you justify it however you like in character, but, like, one way is very much like Miro getting ahead in Miro's goals, and the other way is maybe not so much that, but it's reincorporating Alessandra into his storyline.
If I still had a belief from last session that was to do with you, I think we would go the socialization route. I think as it stands, my beliefs are way more geared towards fulfilling my own personal curiosity.
Yeah, well, your belief says obtain the knowledge of the late Lord Gavril Ablius, so...
Yes.
That would be like question asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's have you call forth the dead, shall we?
Let's do that. Okay. Can I also summon slowly?
I don't see why not.
I just need to find how long it takes. Summon process.
The restless dead. Let's bring him back and make him more restless.
Thankfully, this one is sanctified, so he can't do, like, physical stuff.
Aww.
He's not a poltergeist. He's like he's like whatever happens to humans when they get to go to heaven. The restless dead are like the unbaptized, people who didn't get the last rites.
Yeah, people aren't buried properly.
Pagans.
It should be listed under
Oh,
the
no, it works like circles. So no, you can't do it. You can't do it carefully or slowly.
Fair enough. That makes
you can you can do a link test, but there are no forks because it's not like it doesn't operate like a skill test. There are no forks other than wises. And it is it's ob 4. You get 3 dice.
Yep.
You're conjuring forth a specific spirit, so it's +1 ob.
Ooh, that didn't factor into my maths. Whoops.
Yeah, it's not just any sanctified dead. All right, so you're looking at ob 5. How's your summoning?
2 + 3 is also 5.
Okay. Do you have any wises that are appropriate?
God, I have. I think my temple wise extends out to church grounds.
Yeah. It's a wise. So yeah, you can add that. You do owe me a fort test though for the Cercination. So, just make an ob 3 fort test. And I think all we got to do is if you fail this, you're just like physically like shaky. And so we'll just bump the ob up to 6 on the next roll.
Yeah. Okay. That's totally fine. Modifiers, you don't do anything in fort. Up 3.
Yeah.
Do I have any 6s? No. So we'll bump the ob up.
All right. So it's ob 6 for the summoning.
Yep. Do I have help from my fellow?
Yes. Yeah. Robillard will channel his will with you.
Okay. I will be spending a point of persona.
Okay.
I'm sure I can choose to do it after, but I'll just put it in with the roll because I'm going to need it. I'm sure.
For persona, no, you do it before.
Okay.
To roll an extra die.
Okay, so I have.
Oh yeah, roll one more die for that fort test because we forgot to give you advantage for your fur.
Right.
Do it. No. Okay. Just
Fortunately, the obvious answer here is just to use corruption.
I mean,
the obvious and very yes answer.
We'll just break open the gates of heaven with our corrupt magic.
Just crack them open.
And thus lies in the sweet temptation of the corruption of the dark gods. So how does this work with corruption? You can use it. Corruption brings strength. Let's see here. For 1 fate point, you can call upon the dark powers to help you, so you get an extra 2 dice. Or for a persona point, you can substitute your entire corruption for the skill, and then fork and do all that other shit. 7 dice, Dave.
Yeah.
7 dice, Dave.
What's the consequence for using corruption?
What's that?
Is there any consequence for using corruption?
It advances it.
Okay.
Yeah, like he marks the test as an advance for corruption. Do the math on whether the 2 die help or the 7 die are better for you, right?
You know what? I think, Adam, it would be very fun for both me as a player and you as a GM to flavor the success of this and the knowledge and how he gets it back from heaven if I have also used corruption. So I'll spend a persona point and use my corruption instead of my summoning skill.
Okay, so you have 7 dice plus the 3 for the 3 for the circle.
Yep, 10, and then the 1 wise and the 1 help.
Okay.
Against obstacles. Okay, corruption. Let's do this.
Here's a question: can you both get help from the dark powers and sub their corruption? Are they exclusive?
It's in addition to standard forks and helps. It can only be called upon when you're taking a vile, dark, or corrupt act, which is, pulling someone out of heaven, I think qualifies.
What about?
I think you can spend fate and persona on it, but I also think that maybe that counts. I don't know.
I can do it.
That'll advance your corruption twice.
I think it would advance the corruption twice. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Is there something corruption has to do with the tests of fort or?
No, that's only if it's tax.
Yeah, when you're using sorcery, you can use it.
Art magic. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do that, Dave? Do you want to get another 2 dice from the dark powers actively helping, not just your own internal corruption?
I can spend fate afterwards, right?
No, for this you have to spend it to ask for help from the dark powers.
What's the test? How many?
He's at 10 dice against Ob 5.
Oh, come on. Just do it.
I'm on 12 dice against Ob 5.
Or 10 dice.
It's fine. 7 for corruption, 3 for the circle, and then 1 help, 1 fork.
Can you still 12 use fate points afterward to reroll 6s?
You can still do that, yeah.
So just do 10 dice. You'll be fine.
Yeah, so you don't spend the fate, just spend persona.
I just,
I mean, I understand what you're saying. 12 is better than 10, but 10 is a lot still.
And it's Ob 4 for the summoning, bumped up to 5 for the.
I thought it was 5 bumped up to 6.
No, it's Ob 4. I was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
So it doesn't increase for the fact that it's a specific.
Oh ghost? Yes, and that's the other one. That's what brings it up to 6. Yeah.
6.
All right. So do you want to do 10 dice against 6, or do you want to spend a point of fate and get 2 more help from corruption and do 12 against 6?
It's 12 against 6, 3, and then the help, and then the extra 1, or 14 against 6 if I spend the extra fate points. I'm going to just go 12.
Okay. All right. Cool.
That's
right.
So many dice.
If you fail this roll,
oh no! All right.
Oh,
you rolled so many ones.
Holy shit!
Oh boy. Oh dear.
They're fickle after all.
So 12 dice against Ob 6. You got to fail. You have 1 6. Do you want to try rolling 2 6s in a row? You want to spend a fate point? Yeah. Okay. All right. So roll 1d6. Okay. So 5 of 6. All right. So the effects of failure.
What can happen on a failed summoning?
It's so good, and it's corrupt too. You've basically just ripped him out of heaven using the powers of darkness.
Why did you choose to do this on my dead husband?
And it's your dead husband. It's so good.
I killed him. God damn it!
This will curse your bloodline and everyone whose hands.
Oh my god. Okay, so remember what happened the last time? You. I think what happens here is you do like pull his spirit out of heaven, but
he has his own agenda.
Yeah. Oh, you just created a fucking revenant, a corrupt, empowered. Oh, he's mad.
Why?
I mean,
he's a vengeful ghost. Oh, it's so good.
It's not all is not lost. You can still engage in a duel of wits with the ghost to convince it to let you strike a bargain with it.
Let me see here. So if you fail the summoning, no, he's not bound by the circle, right? The circle was just a conjuring circle. It's not a prison, so he can just run off.
Yeah, he's not bound. But if you could convince him to.
Okay, hang on. So let me just.
I am hoping Miro suffers some negative consequences for this.
Miro never suffers negative consequences for his own failures. Everyone else does.
Exactly.
I'm fucking aware of that.
Miro he's got his hand on the faucet of evil, and he's just letting
it go
with evil.
Miro just keeps doing bullshit, and everyone else has to suffer.
It's quite fun. It feels sometimes, especially the way that we've done this session. Everybody's having this very involved game with each other and everything, and I'm just like, okay, it's time to just fuck everything up.
You're the person playing the whisper when everyone else is just trying to run a gang.
Yeah, no, I feel it.
Okay, yeah, so angry spirits. I think it's important that we summon the same person. So it does not have to perform the service asked. It may return to whence it came, or stay in the summoner's world and wreak havoc. It may be convinced to bargain through a duel of wits. However, it counts as having the enmity clause against the summoner. As such, the creature gains +4 successes to its body of argument. I'm
not gonna want that.
So why don't we take a short break here? And when we get back, I will describe what happens with this horrible failed ritual, and then we can decide what to do after that.
You have so fucked up my shit,
God.
and I'm so mad at you.
Oh my god. Doom. All right, stick around. We got more Burning Wheel right after this.